I have a question, Stuart.
What was,
I wonder if you could talk about detachment and alignment.
well, you can't really have please, everyone, try and sit still. And if there are background noises, just mute yourself, because they really disturb the class. Um, you can't be detached unless you're aligned. So the first principle in the involvement of getting detachment is building a system inside, like I always talk, getting the hara open, getting real foundation, strength inside yourself, keeping the heart open. Um, that really is essential. And to attaining any kind of state of detachment in your life, you have to have the inner strength to be able to do it. Detachment is really necessary, because so many things in life just drag us out of ourselves. So many things in life, so many dramas and soap operas and crazy things that go on in life are constantly sucking our energy out of us. And we need to have an inner balance and an inner capacity to keep that from happening. And that's where detachment comes in. Detachment doesn't mean that you cut yourself off from the world. What it really means is you live in the world and you live, wonderfully in the world, but the world doesn't suck your energy out of you. It doesn't take away the very vital energies you need in order to have a spiritual life. So, the first step in all of this is building an inner life that's strong enough to do it. I mean, when I was younger, I couldn't do that. I mean, it took years of working on myself to build an inner life that was strong enough. Please try and sit still. Try and sit still, please. People moving and there's noise, it really helps the class. It took time for me to build the kind of system inside that didn't, that gave me enough strength to not get angry about things and not to, be fighting with everybody and not get depressed by what goes on in the world. And that kind of inner detachment makes it possible, to sustain most important detachment, and that is with one's consciousness with higher energy in the universe. That's the fountainhead of energy. That's the place we have to go to receive the energy that can enable us to run our life in a healthy way. We need energy, you understand? And people spend most of their time taking energy from each other. So you got people, it's like vampires just eating each other alive, taking energy from each other and not, understanding that when you do that with other human beings, it creates a lot of problems. And a lot of them are problems that people don't even understand, but they sense things like that going on. So in order to avoid that, we need to be attached somewhere. We have to get the detachment from the objective, the external world, to be attached to a higher force of energy in the universe. That requires incredible inner strength. And when you have that kind of inner strength, the world doesn't eat you alive. It doesn't, it's like, the world's like a gigantic vacuum cleaner sucking the vital juices out of everybody. So detachment is really a very, very important thing. It's not going to take place in a human being unless they are aligned inside. The chakra system is aligned. That's absolutely essential, an essential ingredient in why one practices meditation, to align the chakra system, to build an inner life that is strong enough to allow us to stay really permanently connected with a higher force of energy in the universe. Also gives us the ability to live in the world, to enjoy the world, our lives, the success, the things we have in life, without allowing those things to, take our lives away. My teacher always said, it's not to have, it's to have and to be free of what you have. It doesn't have you. That's what detachment brings. The things you have don't have you. Most people are they're destroyed by success, by money, by relationships, by all kinds of things. All the things that are supposed to bring the best in life so often, really take people's lives away because they turn these things into God and they spend their entire life focused, on these things and they worship them instead of, all right, I'm successful, I have money, I have this, I can enjoy. At the same time, one understands that one cannot use that to cut their connection with higher energy in the universe. So we have a form of meditation that we practice here that enables us to build the kind of strength inside that can do what I'm talking about. I don't expect people to do this when they first start or even 6 months, a year into, but it comes. It comes because there's a consistency of inner effort. There's a work, effort there that really enables us to overcome the blocks and the things that are keeping us from doing it. And we begin to build this incredible capacity to enjoy life and be free of life at exactly the same time. Enjoy our successes and be free of them. Not to be sucked dry by the negative quantities that exist in the world, other people's negativity. So often just eats people up because other people are crazy. We get eaten up. We get upset, we get angry, we get this, we get that. It's best to go deeper inside and get quiet and say, okay, I'm not going to allow somebody else's, problems become a thing that are going to destroy me. And I've learned in my own life, every situation, there's always an answer. It always works itself out. We don't have to get all dramatic about it and, create some kind of soap opera. If we quietly learn how to work with things that arise in life, it's amazing how they work out. It's amazing how you get answers and people are able to, figure out ways of living with each other and doing things that don't require major soap opera and major drama, screaming and yelling and fighting and arguing and who's right and who's wrong and who's, the only place that goes is to the grave. It doesn't go anywhere. I mean, honestly, I discovered years ago, I'd rather be wrong in a situation than right. And if I'm wrong, at least I can learn something. If I'm right, there's absolutely nowhere to go. And then it just becomes my ego versus somebody else's ego. And we can't listen to each other. We can't open and say, okay, maybe there's something that I can learn here instead of something that I have to prove that I am right and they are wrong. We become more human. But that takes detachment. It takes a very deep inner strength to be able to do that. And it's basically one of the most important aspects of the meditation that I teach, is learning how to do that. Does anyone else have a question they would like?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Laura. Thank you for the question.
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Manshi.
Can you little bit about finding or seeking closure, if there's such a thing?
Well, there is closure, you know. I mean, it depends. There's closure, people die, there's, you know, people are born, there's all kinds of cycles that begin and end, that there's always some kind of closure. There's closure in relationships, there's you know, I mean, to me, look, I just say thank you. You know, look, I was married for 5 years. I had not an easy marriage, but I have nothing but gratitude to that person I was married to, because I spent 5 years of my life with them. And in that 5 years, I learned a lot about me, about living, about dealing with difficult situations. I can't be angry at them. I found closure, you understand? And today I'm good friends with that person. I wished her happy birthday today, you know? I mean it, you know? I mean, it's very interesting. Today is my mother's birthday and my ex-wife's birthday. I mean, you know, very interesting situation. So what I'm saying is, you know, look, when the closest person in the world to me, person I love more than anyone else in the world, was Rudy. And he saved my life. He gave me a connection with God. He taught me how to do what I'm doing today. And I was with him in an airplane crash, and he passed on in that airplane crash. My first thought was, thank you for allowing me to be with you the last moments of your life. It's closure. My second thought was, now I'll find out what the last 6 years were all about. Whether I really learned what you had to teach me. It was closure. Instead of being sorry and lamenting and crying and all that, you know, my heart opened. And I just said, thank you, God bless. I was here, I was holding your hand, the last moment of your life. In fact, I would say the only reason I'm alive today is his soul force passed inside me and kept me from dying in that airplane crash. So there's all kinds of ways of doing closure. The best is to say, thank you. I spent time, I had a life with you, I had time with you, even if it's 10 minutes, you know, I learned something. And I can't move on in my life unless I can be grateful for everything I learned from a situation and allow closure to take place that way. Is that clear, Manchi? I hope so, you know, because it took me a long time to learn that, but I did. And it enables me to deal with anything, frankly, because everything has become my teacher. And I can't be angry at my teacher. I have to, okay, what did I learn here? I'm learning something. It's enabling me to move on in my life. It's enabling me to have closure with other people, with situations. People die, people are born, people disappear. I mean, I had a student of mine from, I'm talking about 1970s, you know, he was a young man at the time who I really loved very much. He was a wonderful I won't get into it, but he was a wonderful, extraordinary person, you know? And someday I'll tell the story, it's an incredible story. And I hadn't seen him since 1975, no, 77. And about a month ago, he showed up in my life again. He wants to come back to class, and he was telling me that I watch your videos. I cannot tell you how every day of my life I have been grateful for the things I learned from you. I mean, extraordinary. Extraordinary. And I'm like, you know, thank God I was never angry at him. I always, all right, you want to leave? Go, you know, do your life. You have my blessing. He comes back and I hear that, and it just so opened my heart. I told him, you've always lived inside me, my heart. I'll never forget, you know, the things you did when you were studying with me in Texas, you know? it's closure, and then it's an opening again. You know? I mean, I think gratitude is a very big element in closure. Being able to say thank you to somebody, no matter how hard it was, how to say thank you. I learned something that has really helped me in my life from this situation. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart?
Yes?
Can you talk about synchronicity and just being able to see the connections and situations in life and people you meet, and just reaching a place that you see how everything fits together and everything is...
Well, that I can only say that depends on us. The more evolved we are in ourselves, the more we'll recognize the synchronicity of life. Everything fits. Everything is an important ingredient in this bouillabaisse called life. And all the universe is waiting for us to do is to develop the inner capacity to recognize this, that it's all one. Even the negative stuff, the wars, the starvation, the this, it's all one. It's all part of a soup that makes up this incredible thing called life. And our job is to just develop the inner strength, the capacity to recognize this. And then it gets back to closure. Then we don't get angry. We go, all right, what are we learning? How is this helping me to move on? How is this helping me to build, you know, myself inside and getting closer to my spiritual enlightenment? So synchronicity is completely dependent upon how evolved a person is inside themselves. Because everything works. It's all, you know, look, I've learned if there's a negative experience that's going to happen in life, it's always going to be followed by something positive, and vice versa. It's simply how energy manifests in the world, positive and negative. So it all has synchronicity, life and death. You know, everything positive and negative, it all works together. But, you know, experiencing it, being conscious of it, depends upon the evolution of one's inner life, how evolved we are inside. And then it gets clear. It all becomes clear. There isn't this muddle. Oh, I want it to be this way or that way. It's what it is, you know. A great song by the Beatles, Let It Be, you know. I mean, yeah, that's it, let it be. Just is. Saves us a lot of aggravation too. We don't get as upset as much, you know, if things aren't quite going the way we want them to go. Because that's also part of synchronicity. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Larry. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we say this at the end. I hope you're not getting tired of it. You know, I can't tell you the gratitude I have for being here, doing this, learning from all of you because of your presence here. And what deep humility it brings inside myself that I can sit here and do this. I mean, I don't even, it's hard for me to believe that I can even sit here and do this. And God bless you all for being here, for opening, for working on yourselves and making this possible. There'll be a class on Sunday. And, you know, look, the energy, I've just finished today. You know, the energy is getting stronger, deeper than I've ever known it in my life. And what it means is that this energy is coming through because it needs to be passed on to people in the world. And it means that, you know, people should attend these classes. I mean, in Europe and Israel, it's 2 hours or 3 hours a week. It's 165 hours in a week. And people should come and take this in and learn from it, you know, because it's a kind of a miracle that's taking place through Zoom, for God's sake. I don't, you know, try and ask me if I understand this. I don't. But it's just kind of a miraculous thing that's taking, and how strong the energy is becoming. It's getting to the point where it's directly drawing from a level of consciousness that really is going outside the limitations of time. So take advantage of it, you know, and try to make the classes and try to be here and do this. And I mean, it's just a tremendous opportunity for all of us to grow, all of us to deepen our inner lives. So God bless you all and thank you. And there'll be a class on Sunday. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.